Stay tuned for another episode of the Coming Soon podcast with Spider.
Hello, everybody. Spider here once again. Coming Soon podcast, being joined by the man from Maryland, Faustus Crowley. My man, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
No, man, thank you for jumping on here, man. I mean, I know you were referred out here, man, so I appreciate the referrals and for you to jump on and talk about this project, man. Because of course, I mean, right off the bat, bro, because when it comes to filmmaking, I mean, this is something that you ventured into. I mean, what was it that got you hooked on making films?
Well, it started kind of as a joke. But my mom worked at a video store when I was a kid, and that was just like my environment. That's where I felt more at home in the video store than I did anywhere else. Just the box art, the smell of the store. Like I don't know. I've always quoted movies. Like movies have always been a comfort for me.
No, yeah, man, and I agree, bro. I mean, even now, I mean, I've got media when it comes to like DVD. I still have VHS. I picked up a TV yesterday, man. This customer of mine, he's like, "Hey, can you help me get rid of this? It's like an old box TV with a record player on top, bro."
Oh,
Like, I'm
nice.
like, "Does it work?" He's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Dude, I'll take it, man. Like, I still got vinyl, you know." I'm like, "I'll
Right.
put that
It's
home."
stuff sounds better on vinyl. Certain things
Oh
sounds
yeah,
better
dude.
on vinyl.
That little white noise, bro. That little when the
Mhm.
needle hits and you're like, oh man, it's like grainy and I don't know. Like you said, dude, like the smell of being working out there at the or being with mom working at the video store, man. It's the same thing with
Yep.
music, man. It's just you just hear it and it just makes you relax, bro. So, but yeah, man. But of course, I mean, did you jump into it right away? I mean, did you get into filmmaking? You go to school?
No, no, I am still I this is my first project actually. So, SplatterHouse Cinemas came about because it was a play on Grindhouse
Yeah.
movies. And I was like, okay, and I really liked, the Splatterhouse video game, the horror aesthetic of the video game. So I came up with the name first, and then I did the mascot, and reached out to an artist, and I was like, okay, like we can do this. And then like the mascot has become a character unto itself, which then led into the cartoon show, the Pumpkin Patch Pals.
Bro. And dude, okay, well, being that this is your first project, I mean, did you get your feet wet? Did you help others make films before you did this?
I have I used to do a podcast, and that kind of tapered off and fell apart. And then I did 3 episodes of a podcast with my girlfriend, now my fiance. Um, and it just got to be too much with the editing, and then the software changed. What I really like to do is I like to do promos. I like to do voice work because
Oh, nice.
it's quick,
Dude,
it's easy, and you're pushing other people's projects. But the rule has always been that I won't endorse a product that I won't use myself.
nice. I like that, dude. Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense, man. Because somebody had asked me the other day, and they were like, "Hey, man, you want to get into films? Like, is there something you wouldn't do?" And the first thing that popped in my head, and this is like straight fact, dude. I said, you know what? I won't do anything that my kids won't watch.
Right, right.
You
That's
know,
fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
and my kids are a little older. I mean, they're already in their 20s, but at the same time, I got two daughters, and I'm like, I wouldn't do something that they're gonna be like, Dad, really? Like, you know what I mean? So it's just,
Right,
but I was like, yeah, anything else? I said, I'm game. I'm willing to help out behind the scenes. I mean, wherever, man, which I've been doing. I'm grateful.
right,
Got a lot of local movie directors that love free labor. So I'm like, hey, for the
right,
most
right.
part. But
That's
yeah,
that's
man.
that's always been my big thing is like what can you do for each other? You know what I mean? It's like if you can't pay them, can you help somebody else out? You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly, bro. No,
but
yeah, and then you see, and it's kind of like right now because, of course, I mean, I cover indie film when it comes to the
right.
podcast. We have a zine that we just launched this month, man, and actually that's what I was picking up earlier, like I mentioned. But we're doing indie music as well.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know what? I mean, me and my friend Tawny, we did this in the mid '90s, covering like punk rock, like I mean, indie music. I mean, indie rock, indie. And so my thought process was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can, because they already help each other, man. There's a lot of indie music
Right,
and indie film. So I see, you know what? I'm gonna try to promote both and see if I can link one with the other, and everybody grows, man. Because
right.
we
The
all want to make that money, but dude, like. we got to make film or make projects, first.
Right. The boost you give today may be the hand that pulls you up tomorrow.
Yeah, bro, exactly. I love that, man. And I was grateful. Like, I've been referred to like two films, in local wise, and the fact that people referred me, I'm like, dude, I'm like, I thank them because I'm like, bro, like,
Yeah, yep. Because I mean,
yeah,
if I believe in a project, I have no problem being shameless about it. Like
yeah,
once I've got both feet in it. And Horror Zennial recommended you because she did season 666,
yeah. Yes.
which I went into, and I was like, okay, like I'll dip my toes in this movie review thing, and that's kind of how Splatterhouse Cinema started. I wanted to do a podcast with Splatterhouse, and then it's like just the software has changed so much, and I just couldn't get into it. But TikTok, it's like all the editing software's there. You blurp it out in about 10 minutes, and it's done. So I
Yeah.
just basically did movie reviews, um, and it's a very interesting ranking system. So it follows a funeral type theme. So the lowest ranking is cremation, where the movie is so bad, just
Oh
burn it
shit.
and scatter the ashes. Then you have bury it. What is it? This you don't need to see this one. Just go ahead and bury it. Um, Viewing is of course at least worth the watch, and then you
Yeah.
have full service, which is where you'll make the date night out of it. And
Nice.
then if you like physical media, you add it to your movie mausoleum. Keep it
Nice.
forever. It's one that you're going to want to
Nice.
watch over and over again. You're going to want to make sure that you own it. That way, the streaming service can't take it away from you.
Dude, amen, brother. You see, and I've been hearing that a lot more lately, man. Like everybody is going towards, actual like DVDs, Blu-rays. Some even going this back at VHS, bro. And
Yep,
I'm like, you know what?
nostalgia's making a comeback.
Oh yeah, you see the record player I picked up yesterday, man. I was just like, dude,
Yep.
I wasn't gonna say no to that, But yeah, but let me ask you though, because when it comes to streaming, I mean, of course, it's out there. It's probably the easiest, fastest way you can get a movie out there. I mean, they said the
Hmm.
residual isn't as great because it drops a lot. So, like, even getting like, I think somebody had described it like getting millions of hits, you're still only gonna make nickels and dimes, man. So it's not
Right.
like, oh, hey, I got 100 views. Okay, I'm a millionaire. I can retire. Nah, bro. It's like, I mean, and I always wonder because, yeah, I see, filmmakers out there like pushing it, man. And of course they push it because they want it to get seen. But at the same time, it's like, if they don't get those views, man, they're not going to make
Yep.
anything. You want to at least break even at most, you
Yep.
know. But man, but of course, let me ask you because when it comes to the movie review, man, I do movie trailer reviews.
Okay.
And I do that because I'm like, you know what? I'm just a guy that loves horror. I've been watching this since the 80s. I know what I love. I mean, I give it like a 5-point system. And it's basically, I love yours. So I'm not going to
Right.
steal
Right.
that. But I mean, that's pretty cool,
Right.
man. But
Yep.
for me, it's always going to be it's always going to start with a 2-point, man. And it's just basically like, you know what? It wasn't for me. I'm glad they made it. Maybe it's for somebody else, but it's a 2. I go with the third one. It's either sound and lighting. I mean, if everything works and it works in my favor,
Right.
I'm like, dude, it was great. Fourth, of course, the character build up, the chemistry, and believe it or not, for me, 5 is always camera angles, man. I'm a sucker for. I'm not a professional photographer, but I've been doing
Right.
photography for years, and for me, it's all about angles. So if I can see that in the movie, I'm like, oh damn, like it's just whether they cut low, high, whatever angle. It's just if I can see something like that, it just does something to me or for me, and it's just like, okay, you know what, that's a 5 for me.
Right.
But yeah, it's just I hashtag
That's
this thing called I hashtag not my horror, and I
right.
do that respectfully because we're not gonna like everything that people put out.
Right.
But at the
Right.
same time, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm glad you made it. I'm glad it's out there, but not my
Yeah,
horror.
I feel sometimes bad about having to give something the cremation, but it's like it's got to be a hot chocolate stinker to like, just be like, no, this movie should not see the light of day, and neither should you. Like, it is not worth your eyeballs.
You're
Like,
like burn it,
yep,
dude.
yep.
That's brutal,
And
man.
that's why I did it because, well, I did it too because it's like, no offense to anyone that uses the 5-star system, but it's like,
Yeah,
it's like, okay, everybody gets the 5-star, but it's like, man, it's like this guy is like, this movie was so bad, I shouldn't even be watching it. Like, it's,
yeah,
like let me stay
yeah.
away from that movie. And it's like, it's so good. You want to make a full event date night out of the movie. It's like, it's that good.
No, I
Um,
agree, man. And you see, and that's my thing too, because it's like I always tell people, like if I'm at the theater and the movie hooks me, like if I'm hooked in, like I can't hear a baby cry, I can't hear people whispering, I can't see
mhm,
the cell phone light. But if I start noticing those things and I know the movie's lost me, and I'm like, damn, like okay, then I
Yeah.
I just start waiting around for it to finish, But yeah, man, I mean, we're not gonna love everything, I mean, when it comes to music, I mean, when I had a zine, back in the '90s, like I mentioned earlier, and it's like I used to review music, and I went with what I liked. So of
Hmm.
course, a lot of times I'm like, hey, you know what, this music reminds me of this, and this. It's great, but it doesn't carry well with vocals, whether it's just had to do with something.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, man, it kind of sucked, But every once in a while, like the same thing, I was just always like, man, I didn't get anything out of it. I didn't enjoy it. The music wasn't great. It didn't carry well. Like tune, whatever. Yeah, and it's punk rock, so I'm like, dude, everything's out of tune, right? But
Right. Right.
it was just out of tune that bad that I'm like, okay, yeah, I couldn't get into it. But we gotta be honest, man. It's just, I mean, out of like 10 reviews, maybe 8 will like it, and we won't. So
Right.
not too bad.
And that's the thing too. Is the movie reviews are your personal opinion on it. Like your taste
Oh,
might differ greatly from someone else's tastes. And but yeah, I don't want to yuck anyone else's yum, and I don't want to be like this movie's so bad that you shouldn't see it. That's just my personal opinion. You can decide like, oh, now I have to see it. Like he's telling me it's this
no,
bad. Like
yeah.
I've got to know
They're,
why.
they're like, screw this guy. I'm gonna go watch it.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yep.
damn it, cremation.
Yep. Because I toyed around with the idea of like the rigor mortis, fresh stiff thumbs up or the rotten thumbs down, and I was like, that's very polarized. Like it's either you either liked it or you didn't. There's no middle ground. Like it
Yeah.
was okay. Like
No, true, true. Yeah, man, and I agree, man. But well, let me ask you this, man, because of this, when this project comes out, are you going to be the more critical about your work?
I think so because here's the thing. It's like I this is my first project
Yeah,
and everybody kept telling me that get ready for a lot of no's before you get a yes.
yeah,
But everyone that I've put this project in front of has been yes, yes, yes. How do I be a part of it? How can I help? What can I do to help? And it's crazy because I thought it's like I thought this is stupid and it never work, and like everybody's just like, oh yeah, I love it, like tell me more, and I'm like, well, I can't tell you too much because I didn't
yeah.
have like a proof of concept yet. But now that I've got just a snippit of the trailer, so that's the idea right now is to finish the animation trailer, put that out, and then raise funding to make it a full length episode of 5 to 15 minutes.
Okay, okay. Dude, and let me ask you this, because right now, I mean, when it's said and done, well, where's it going to be at? Are you going to stream it? Are you going to put it on YouTube? Is it going to be physical?
I'm shopping around. I'm weighing my options. I kind of want to see what it looks like when it's finished. But like you said, yeah, it's like I kind of have to realize these are untrained actors that are donating their voices, their time, and some of their money into creating this project. It's like my artist is I think my pumpkins look great, but there's been a couple times where I've had to ask for small tweaks, and that's been the hardest part for me is like um, bringing the hammer down and being like, hey, look, you guys, like I know you're donating your time, but I need you to be this place this time to record these lines.
Yeah,
And I'm what they call a bit of a people pleaser, and I don't want to upset anyone. I want them to all make sure they're having fun. But I've noticed already that some people are putting more energy and effort into their voices, and some at first felt like they were just reading off of a script, but then they settled into it and they're like, if you're not happy with this, please let me know and I'll re-record it. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we'll try it this way or we'll do it that way. Um, and I find it's a lot easier if you're doing these things, especially the voice work and everything, if you play a character. Like you have to separate yourself from the role.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
and you'll definitely enjoy it more. That way, if your character does something stupid, it's not Mario that did something stupid. It's
It's
you know,
Patricia. But what's that show
yeah,
go?
yeah, or it's if I do something, Andy didn't do something stupid. Faustus did
There
something
you
stupid.
go. There you go.
So
And don't give out your government name, by the way, man. You're good.
okay,
Man, but let me ask you. I mean, of course, you jumped into this, man. I mean, of course, it's going to be your first project. I
yeah,
mean, doing the reviews, has this kind of, I guess, given you enough to where you're like, okay, you know what? Like, I mean, obviously, you feel you're ready for this. I mean, is there something else you're working on to kind of help you along the way? I mean, are you asking for advice? Are you working with others? Are you doing it?
yeah, yeah. So I realized first what I needed to do was I needed to ask people who were in the industry what I needed to do because I was like, okay, if I go to Kickstarter, I need to ask for a certain amount. And then I needed to know the legalities of, like, let's just say I ask you for $100 and you raise 200 for me. What do I then do with that extra 100 that I didn't think that I needed?
Right.
And I was told that basically it's like I need to log all of my personal hours, any money that I invest into this, because then the project then owes me money. I'm owed for my time. So if I raise $200, I only need 100. That other 100 is then mine for my blood, sweat, and tears. And there's been a
Oh
lot of tears, and they're not sad tears. It's so surreal seeing your idea go from just this daydream fuzzy image in your head to something on paper to something that is now moving around, and there's audio coming out of it, and it's been amazing, and everyone has been so positive and helpful. Jason and the Krugers did a theme song for me. That was the first step.
yeah.
I was like, I need a theme song, and they came up with Pumpkins on the Loose.
Nice, nice. I like that.
Yeah, and
Damn, man. And then of course, I mean, they're an indie band, right?
yes,
Sweet, bro.
yes.
Hell yeah.
So it's kind of been, again, it's like their logic is the same thing as my logic of, hey, we help you, we boost you up, and then maybe you
Yeah.
help us, to the next step on their journey. Um, because they're looking to get in, they're looking to get on the radar of other movies. They want to do music for the movies.
Bro, that's there's a band here in Texas that's been doing that with a lot of the trauma films, and they did one with the and I'll plug him in right now. This project I jumped on called Killer Cox, right? And it's out of
Right,
a crew from Waco, Texas, man. But the jingle, it sounds like a jingle, but dude, that song
right.
is freaking
Do you know Mike?
ridiculously. I'm sorry,
Do you know Mike from West Virginia?
Mike who? What's the last
Mike
name?
Mike Fink?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he's
I
out
I
there,
I
man.
know I know him from the TMNT groups.
Oh hell yeah, dude! You see,
Yeah,
and
because he does
that,
a
that
lot
whole
with
group,
Truma.
man. Yeah, that whole group is freaking like, dude. I went to go help them in Waco for the filming, man, and it was just like everybody was just like so freaking copacetic, bro. Like it was just laid
Right,
back. First time I had met most of them, and made me feel well. I mean, they made me feel comfortable. So I was like, hell yeah, dude, these
right.
are my kind of guys, man.
Yep.
Pretty
But
cool,
yeah,
dude.
it's been a lot of like rubbing hands and shaking elbows.
Oh yeah,
Um, but as I said, everybody's been super positive, super helpful, super on board. No one said anything negative. And I really thought that, like, I thought someone was gonna be like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, let me grab one of the. So I just recently got this nice binder to keep everything in, but this is the pumpkin that I'm going to voice. This is Crowley O'Lantern and his Raven familiar Faustus.
nice. Oh yeah.
Um, so everybody's like, is it crow? I'm like, no, because there'd be scarecrows in the pumpkin patch. It's a raven, therefore he's not scared by the scarecrow.
Ah, gotcha.
That's just,
Nugget.
originally he was going to live in the scarecrow and he was going to be Crowley Crow, but then I was like, wait a minute, like I want a pumpkin, like everybody else has got a pumpkin. Why don't I get a pumpkin? Like I don't want to just keep voicing, Gordy Blackroot, who was the original pumpkin, who is so this character here, this is Sam Gordy Blackwood. Um I've got a VHS around here somewhere that I made myself. It's just the box art. Like
Oh nice.
it's just a goof, but I made myself like a fake VHS
Oh
because
hell
why
yeah,
not?
bro! Man, that's nice. I like that.
It's
Yeah.
the tale of a young man whose obsession with Halloween went too far, driven over the edge by seeing his beloved Halloween decorations being taken down to make way for Christmas decor. Sam heads to the mall with a fire axe. Prices won't be the only thing getting slashed Black Friday. Spreading holiday fear, get ready for Chopping Mall Blackest Friday.
Thank you.
You're in for a gourd time. Splatterhouse will leave you in stitches, packed full of so many pumpkin puns. Your sense of humor will be ground to a pulp. We will plant the seeds in your nightmares so scary you won't dare decorate this December. All he wants for Christmas is blood, and the runtime is as long as you can. So I like
Nice.
I like puns. I'm I'm a
Dude.
shameless dad joke, like, but that's where it started. I wanted this. I thought that I could maybe turn this into a movie, and I go to a writers group twice a month, and it's biweekly. And I told them I took the synopsis for
Yeah.
this, and I was like, here, like, and they're like, yeah, I could see that. Like, is it a comedy? And I'm like, Well, it was meant to be a horror, but I guess it could be a horror comedy. It could be kind of funny, like. And then
Man,
Terrifier 3 came out, and I was like, oh.
yeah, you're like, eh. Let me ask you though, because I mean, you make you know, the spoof when it comes to the box, man. But I mean, are you planning on doing a VHS drop?
I would love to get it on VHS. I know people. I know there's a guy on TikTok that like cuts the boxes, and that's how I was kind of get able to get the dimensions for it.
Yeah.
I had a friend who did with the original Pumpkin Patch Pals do a mock-up, but a lot of those pumpkins have since been retired
Oh
in
man.
lieu of the newer ones because as the artist settled into drawing these pumpkins, I'm up to 30 pumpkins.
Oh,
Um, and as they settled into them, the pumpkins got progressively better and better looking. So I was like, okay, get rid of these, get rid of the original three. They can go. And then I had people offer to voice them. I was like, okay, so I want them to look more like the people voicing them. So
yeah.
then the next three got pushed out, and I started getting more and more pumpkin characters. And I was like, okay, like it started off I had 12, and I was like, I could voice three, but 12 feels like a bit much. And then I started meeting people on TikTok, and someone in passing said, "Oh yeah, my friend Shane O'Mac would love to be a voice actor," and he's like, "I will do whatever I
Really?
have to make this happen for him." And I was like, "Well, actually, I've got this crazy idea if you want to hear it." And they're like, "Well, okay." And I was like, "Well, remember Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? What if they were pumpkins? And what if they could talk?" And then it just kind of like evolved from there, and we came to a crossroads. It was, is the Pumpkin Patch Pals going to be a children's show, or is it going to be like Squidbillies? And it's definitely for adults, like you could see it on Adult Swim.
Oh
And
hell yeah, dude. I can see that.
one accidental F bomb later, and the Pumpkin Patch Pals became violent, carnivorous pumpkins.
Nice. Hey, dude, I love. I mean, you said earlier it could be comedy. When it comes horror comedy, man, I'm all over that. I mean, that's my forte, man. That's what I love. I'm the like Return of the Living Dead. Shopping Mall.
Yep.
All these silly freaking horror movies, man. But
Yep.
yeah, dude. I mean, that's pretty cool, man. And of course, let me ask you, how many people are voicing? I mean, is everybody getting like three characters?
So right now the trailer consists of myself as Crowley Lantern
Right.
and the Great Gourd, um, which is he's the biggest pumpkin in the patch, and he's got 8 tendrils. Because they're not called vines, they're called tendrils. I learned more about pumpkins than I ever wanted to know. Um, but he's got this these like the flying spaghetti monster. He's got these viney tendrils, and 3 eyes, and
Oh damn.
the
Okay.
so I'll be voicing Crowley Lantern and the Great Gourd, which is like the narrator at the end of the show. Then we've got the movie Ginger, who voices Ginger Gourd. We've got just Effin Peachy, who voices Peachy Pumpkin, who is a conjoined twin to um, used to be Lily, now she's Lilith the librarian, and her
Oh,
pumpkin
nice.
is Lily Pumpkin. So Lily and Peachy are conjoined. One's slightly smaller than the. I've got art for them in my binder. Let me grab that real quick.
Yeah.
Um, so sorry, I should have had these pulled out already.
Nah, no, you're good, man. Shoot.
All right, so there is Lily and Peachy. Peachy's got the blue eyes. Lily's got the heart shaped eyes. That's Jumbo. He's in the trailer too, and he doesn't. I also voiced Jumbo. He doesn't have audible dialogue, so it's like the pumpkins can understand him, but the viewer can't. That's the joke. Then we've got my friend Chris, who voices Big V, and the ongoing joke is that none of the other pumpkins know why they call him Big V, and he gets really mad when they ask. And this is Ginger Gourd. This is the one. This is the first one that started all, because the movie Ginger has these bitchin' dreads, and I was like, how cool would it be if like the vines were the dreads? And then there's the Great Gourd.
Well, we don't call them vines, though, right?
What's that?
We don't call them vines, though, right? What was it that you, you called them?
This is the Great Gourd.
Oh, okay, okay,
Oh,
okay.
tendrils. They're
Pickle, there
not
you
vines,
go.
they're tendrils.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. I was just joking, but I was gonna say I'm gonna learn more about pumpkins after I'm done with this. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't know, but they grow flower first. So the little nub on the bottom of the pumpkin is actually where the flower was, and then there's stems, of course, attached to the tendril. Um, but yeah, so I think I don't know if I cut the stems off of these when I cropped it out or not. I have to go back and look at my own creations. Um, but they have a candle inside. They have a magic candle. I toyed around with a gourd reaper type character, and I was like, maybe he's not evil. Maybe he's the one that carves the faces and places the candle in the
Oh
pumpkin.
damn.
So it's a right now the first 3 episodes that are in storyboard are the idea is that they cover life lessons for adults. Some things that even we as adults have trouble dealing with or forget. So episode 1 would be the explanation of how the candle works, and Lily recently lost her brother Andrew Har.
Okay.
So she was kind enough to let me do a memorial pumpkin. Andrew actually has a memorial pumpkin. It won't be voiced. He's in the background, but his pumpkin will live on. However, there is an old pumpkin in the patch that his candle's going out. So this is Andrew's pumpkin.
Nice.
Um, but
And
there's an
that's
old
the
pumpkin.
no, no. I was
What's
gonna say that's the one you said has no dialogue, right?
Yeah, he won't have a speaking line. He's just there to honor Andrew's memory.
Nice. Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
with course with Lily's permission, Lilith the librarian. Um, but the candle on this elder pumpkin is going out. So the pumpkin patch pals get together and decide that they're going to go talk to either the Great Gourd or the Gourd Reaper, someone to try and extend the life candle of Elder Pumpkin.
Damn. Gotcha.
And he kind of explains to him like, no, my little pumpkins, once a candle is gone, that's it. We have but a wrinkle in time, and we must enjoy it, while it lasts. But there's no guarantee, that your candle won't burn out,
Yeah.
sooner. And it's kind of also, like your legend lives on, but your candle is burnt out. So, and seeing them with their eye flames lit, and especially seeing them now animated, when I get the art, I get it in 3 stages. I get a rough sketch, I get a clean sketch, I get color with no eye flames, and then finally I get the finished pumpkin with eye flames. It turns my stomach a little bit now to see them with the darked out eyes because
Yeah.
they're soulless at that point in my head canon now. Um, so it's weird, and I'm not gonna lie, I cried. I cried recording the concept for bargaining for Elder Pumpkin's life candle. Um, Sorry, I'm getting. It's so stupid. This pumpkin isn't even real, and it
Dude.
gets me choked up. But it's like it's the concept of death, and as an
Yeah.
adult, it's like you got to realize that like people come and people go, and you don't know when they're gonna go. But as their creator, shouldn't I be allowed to decide whether or not I can extend the life candle? And it's like if I make that choice for one pumpkin, then I have to make it for all of them, and then the pumpkins, are eternal and immortal, and that's not
Yeah.
how life works. Life's not fair, and you don't know how much time you have, and that's kind of the idea. The episode is like it makes you realize that death is it's an adult
Inevitable,
lesson.
man. It's coming.
Um, and then episode 2, I have a witch gourd, which actually I think I put her away. I had one. I got it from Spirit of Halloween, and her nose is the stem, which I thought was really clever.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I was like, the the lesson from that episode is we don't judge others on their appearance.
Right.
So this witch gourd, Gorgatha, thinks that the Pumpkin Patch Pals don't like her, so she's making things hard for the Pumpkin Patch Pals, and they kind of confront her. I'm like, hey, what's your problem? And she's like, you don't like me because I'm ugly. And they're like, no, you've never been outcast from the Pumpkin Patch Pals. We don't know what gave you that idea. You're more than welcome to be a part of the patch. And she rejoins the patch, and everybody becomes friends. But again, it's like as adults, kids are nasty. Kids are
Oh
nasty to each
yeah,
other.
bro. Dude.
And there's a lot of that going on TikTok right now, judging each other on how they look, throwing shade just for views. It's gross. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Um, like you said, we're here to build each other up, not tear each other down. And then the last episode was about eating your vegetables, where we would devour a paraplegic on camera. So right into the dark humor, like.
Oh man. And I was gonna say, is that where the cannibalism starts, right?
Yeah, when then so the trailer, it starts off with like Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, in the Serengeti there's a tiger, and then it's like, so in the whimsical world of Xanadu there lies a pumpkin patch, but don't let their adorable little faces fool you. These gourds are rotten to their core. And then Crowley O'Lantern looks up and sees, the human narrator, which I envision as like a British explorer with, the pit helm,
Yeah.
like like from Jumanji, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, look, a human! Let's get him!" And someone's like, "Get the hell off of our land, legs!" And then Jumbo says something like really out of pocket, but no, the audience can't hear what he said, so it's left to the imagination of just after hearing, let's get the human, get off our land, legs, and then this pumpkin says something really out of pocket. Big V's like, "Don't you think that's a bit much?" And Ginger Gore or Lily goes, "I vote we skin the human." And then the movie Ginger's like, "Do you think they're ripe?" And then they all pounce on the narrator and just start consuming the human flesh. And then it fades out in the Great Gourd. Um, we will see you at the pumpkin patch, or we will see you in hell. And then
Oh,
the theme
dude.
music plays. Pumpkin Patch Pals coming.
Man,
Coming this fall.
let me ask you, where do these voices come from, man?
The voices that I do.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Um, so there was it's 'cause I'm really crazy. I was listening to an uh Aleister Crowley documentary, The Most Evil Man on Earth, and the guy that was doing Aleister Crowley's voice, I was like, "Ooh, that's creepy." I was like, I could kind of do that." So that's kind of like where my Faustus Crowley voice comes from. I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
okay.
so I put on this goofy accent when I do my movie reviews, just because it's if I say something out of pocket, it's the character. It's not me. These aren't the way I feel about
Dude, that's
things.
that's brilliant. I love that.
This is the character.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
and then the Great Gourd is actually based off of Doctor Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Okay, I can see that.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I watch some YouTubers play Dungeons and Dragons, and there's one he's a bugbear named Torbeck, and I kind of use that voice for Gordy. And Gordy's kind of a Forrest Gump type person who refers to himself in third person. He constantly refers to himself as Gordy, and it's like a little skit I do. Gordy's normally off camera, but sometimes I put on the pumpkin head and I wear this shirt, and because it looks like a summer camp shirt, and it's like,
Yeah, it
of
does
course Gordy,
actually.
of course Gordy would wear his own stuff, but I'll be like, "Sam, come look at this. We've got mail. We've got something that the sponsor wants to show us." And Gordy, be off camera, and he'll say something just completely insane. Or I asked him for scissors one time, and I had this giant pair of plastic, oversized scissors. He's like, "Here you go, Faustus. I brought you the scissors. Can I have the cookie now?" And it's like, "Oh, very, very funny, Sam. Get out of here. Go on." Like, it's just like we abuse Sam, but it's like it's all in good fun because it's like I'm Sam. Like there is no Gordy whose feelings are being hurt. It's just
Dude.
he's just this character off screen. And sometimes he comes on and he wants to be a part of the show. Um, but yeah, it's like you can if you put on a mask and do a funny voice and play this character, you could make a complete ass of the character and have a good time and not worry about
Oh yeah.
what people think about you on the street,
They're gonna be like, "What's wrong with this guy?" But
right?
dude, that's
Yeah.
that's cool, man. I can definitely appreciate that, man. I mean, but let me. I mean, are you doing any other work? I mean, when it comes to voice, man. I mean, is this just like the first time you're doing like all this?
Yes, this is the first time I've done, like I said, I do voiceover
Right.
promos. I've done one for Sinister Brew. They're a fantastic mom and pop coffee company out of, I believe it's New Hampshire. The shipping speed is amazing. The coffee flavors are amazing. I fully endorse that product. They get the rigor mortis thumbs up of approval. That bad boy is fresh.
Right.
I've done one for Hellbound Studios where I tried to do a horrible Pinhead impersonation. Um, and I think when I did the unboxing, she sent me a mascot. She makes dolls,
Oh, nice.
horror
Oh,
dolls. So I asked her if she could make one for Sam, not Sam from Trick or Treat, Sam
right.
Gordy Blackwood, my original character, which I always check. I always check to make sure the names aren't an actual character before I go with them.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
originally I wanted to call him Faustus Blackwood, but of course Faustus Blackwood is from Sabrina, so I had to pick
Oh, no
something
kidding.
else. So
Yeah.
Gordy, because he's got a big dumb pumpkin head. So it's Sam for Sam Hain, Gordy for the pumpkin, and Blackwood because I thought Blackwood sounded really cool.
Right.
And that came. I lost my the thought train has left the station without me. Oh yeah, so this is my first time doing any of this. So I thought, yeah, I could voice it, and then I needed to know what it would take to do animation. So right now,
Dude.
the final girl who did the Fred Heads documentary,
Yeah.
she is doing the animation for me.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So credit where credit
Wow.
is due. She's doing the animation for me. Jason and the Krugers, so Johnny Hopeless, Johnny Angel, are doing the Pumpkins on the Loose. There's an orchestral version, orchestra music version. And I feel so bad because I cannot remember the lady's name that does these, but it's beautiful. And it's just such a dark thing. And I kind of when I went with the theme song, I wanted it to start like, very happy, my little pumpkin. And then all of a sudden, it just the beat drops and it's just Slayer's raining blood. And they did a fantastic job of going from, like, okay, pumpkins, and then it's like it gets a little heavier and it gets a little darker. But like I said, the orchestral version it's so just soothing. Um, with these dark ominous undertones to it, and it's kind of like one idea fed into the next, and now it's all coming together. And I told the voice actors, because again, they're not trained voice actors. I'm not a
Right.
trained voice actor. Actually, the whole reason I got into voice acting is because of Townsend Coleman.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
was my first. That was my first trying to do. I used to do a Mikey moment of the week where I would tell like a stupid turtle joke in a Michelangelo voice. And I watch some voice acting videos, and they say a lot of times there's like a trigger phrase that you use to get into the voice. But certain voices, once I start doing them, I can't turn them off for a little while. And I was doing a Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation. And I was like, yeah, I gotta got class in about a half hour. If I show up talking like this, I don't think the professor is gonna like it very much. And then sometimes when you start doing it, you gotta get the flexing in there, and the veins in your neck start popping out, and you can't turn the voice off, and you're not sure what to do. And
Yeah,
yeah, it
you went to
just
class.
you just gotta flex it out. You gotta snap into the Slim Jim. And that's another one that I like to do. And then the Mikey moment of the week, it's Cowabunga, dude. And now for your Mikey moment of the week. Um, and it'd be some,
Dude.
why did the turtle cross the road? Because there's pizza on the other side. And I actually reached out to Townsend and I was like, Townsend, I know you probably can't voice a pumpkin. I said, but could I do an honorary pumpkin for you? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. He's like, but with the voice actors union and all, like I can't voice it for you. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, I just wanted to let him know that, like, he made my childhood great. And
Yeah.
it's like I'm still a fan, 37 years later, like, and now because of this friendship, like, I want to be a voice actor, and it's like I fully, credit him. Um, so this is
Yeah.
Coleman O'Lantern,
Oh, damn. Okay.
like the Coleman the Coleman lanterns.
Yeah.
So that's why mine's Crowley O'Lantern, because in the show, like, he would be my uncle. He's my muse, he's my inspiration for voice acting.
Nice. I like
I
that,
could I could never fill that shell, but it's just he's a wonderful man, very encouraging, very supportive. Didn't laugh at me or make fun of me when I sent him, my Mikey impression, and he's like, "Oh, keep at it, dude. Like, you could go places." And
No, it's true. And I was gonna say too, man, because a lot of times, just like with somebody, not so much doing it's not a stunt double, but actually a body double. A lot
yeah,
of times they can't fly people in, and they're like, "Hey, man, you know what? Boom, we're gonna use you."
Yep.
Dude, I mean, I've heard other voice actors say the same thing. They're like, hey, rather than pay them a couple thousand, they pay me a couple hundred,
Yep.
just to do that little part that they need, and boom, done.
Well,
But
that's what I'd like. So it's right now it's going to be a cartoon show, and I thought at first I could do a comic book. I thought comic book, that's probably cheap. I could get that done. I can use that to go to Kickstarter, and I could use the funds from Kickstarter to fund the animation.
no,
Well, now the animation's happening a lot sooner than I thought it would, and I told the pumpkins, I'm like, I need these voice lines from you, and I was like, you don't have to do crazy voices. I love your regular speaking voices. They are diverse enough. And I'm talking to a couple people from across the pond, England, Ireland,
I,
Scotland. Um, I've got one young lady, her name's Ashley, and I said, what if, because she's Scottish, I said, what if we did for you a turnip instead of a pumpkin, because the original jack-o'-lanterns were carved from turnips, not
yeah,
pumpkins.
yeah,
So her commitment, she's like, I can't promise you that I can commit. I said, let me at least make the gourd, the turnip for you, so that you have art, and if you have time to do some voice lines, then you can do them. um but no commitment required. um but yeah, it's been crazy trying to come up with these pumpkin characters, and it's like, I know what it's like to be picked last in dodgeball and to feel left out of things, and
yeah,
it's like, I don't want anyone to feel that they can't be a part of my pumpkin patch. But realistically, at 31 characters now, it's like I've got to
no,
start, I've got to start,
yeah,
trimming the garden a little bit, and not everybody can talk in every episode. And
right,
again, too, somebody's got to draw these or port these over, and it's. I think it took. I think it took the final girl like 3 hours just to animate the lip flaps and the eye fire on 5 pumpkins. Six
damn,
if you count
um,
Peachy and Lily as two separate characters.
wow,
Um,
dude, yeah, man. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of work going into this, man.
It is. It's a lot more than I ever thought it would be. Um, but it's a beautiful thing to see it step by step happen. And I know people are going to come into it later, and that's kind of why I wanted to reach out to as many people as I can now while it's nothing, and be
Yeah,
like, look, you were here for me when it was nothing. Now it's something, and now you want to be a part of it. Like, remember when you snubbed me and was like, no, I don't want you on my podcast. You're weird and creepy, and like,
yeah.
you know, go stand over there. Um, Now it's like I could be like, well, hey, like, you guys were here and lifted me up and supported me through the darkest part. Um, I actually met these people on my birthday.
Oh,
So
nice.
this has been about a 3 month project. So it's gone from brain fart to animation in 3 months, and it's
Wow.
mind boggling. And I have no idea of if that's fast for the industry, if that's slow for the industry. Um, I have no reference points whatsoever. I'm just a guy who has always wanted to have his 15 minutes of fame,
Yeah.
who's always believed that if I kept trying, I always say that I've got big ideas and I will bend to the breaking point for the right people. I need someone to put the spotlight on me.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
put the light on me and let me dance. Like, I will do for you,
Give me my catch. No, no, that's
you
true,
know.
man. And it's for me, I mean, as of late, like I've been jumping into a lot of films, man, and I've been having fun. I've been enjoying my time out there. I'm enjoying watching people work, bro. And like twice,
Yeah.
I think it was Monday, like I'm watching people act, and the director's looking at me like, "What are you doing? Like, move!" And I was like, "Oh crap!" Like I got caught in that moment, man. And
Right, right.
so I was just like, "Oh, okay." Like I stumbled a little bit, but yeah, man, it's magic, bro. I mean, like you said, like I mean, turning this animation into life is what you're doing, bro. The same thing with seeing these actors like changing like character like in front of me, and I'm like, oh damn, dude, like that's pretty freaking good, and
Yeah, it's
impressed. Everybody I've been working around with, dude, like from the directors, the writers, the actors, to I mean, it's phenomenal, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying everything. So
That's
yeah,
good, and that's what I told the Pumpkin Patch Pals. I'm like, I don't want this to feel like work because you're not being paid. It's like, this is a passion project, and everybody keeps telling me, it's this is your baby. You're in charge. We're here for you. Whatever you need us to do, let us know and we'll do it. And I'm like, man, it's like, I don't like barking orders because I'm not. I don't feel like I'm anyone's boss, But at the same time, it's like I've kind of have to settle into this. Okay, Crowley O'Lantern is the leader of the Pumpkin Patch Pals, and the pumpkins need to do what he says. And it's so weird. And everybody keeps telling me, it's like I've brought the community back together, and through Andrew's memory, it's like it's really owed a lot to him. I didn't know Andrew Horror at all. I don't want the illusion that we were friends, that we were mutuals. I came in right at the end of his candle, and it's super unfortunate, but he has left this beautiful legacy behind. And through him, through his videos, through his friends, and through his sister, I am getting to see his legacy. And that hurts because I'll never get to know the man. I only get to know the legend. And at the end of the day, he was a flesh and blood human being. He seemed like a beautiful soul. And that's really why, and I told Lily, I'm like, I don't want to use his name for clout whatsoever. I'm not pretending to know him. But what I do want to do is I want to honor him with this project. Like, I want to dedicate the first episode to him and his memory. Um, because without him, I wouldn't know all these people, and I don't think they would know each other. He was a pillar of the horror talk community,
Man.
and um, it's just I keep having people tell me, like I'm a good person and I'm a wonderful person, and I don't see it myself. Um, I think we're our own worst critic, and like you said
Oh
earlier
yeah.
about, am I going to be? Can I look at myself under the same microscope that I put other projects under? And I think that I'm going to be harder on myself because I know what went into it, and I try when it's indie movies to take that into account on my ratings, because
Yeah.
the acting is a little questionable, because these are not professional paid actors. They're not people that have a long list of IMDb credits, and they're not Oscar winning performances, but they're passionate. You can tell that they're having a good time, like season 666. The
Bro.
the lines were mostly improv, and it's like you have to go into it in that mindset. Like, this is not, $1 million film. This was an indie film
Yeah.
that people had a good time making, and it's like I love the idea as a crowbar as a weapon. I even went out and got a prop crowbar after watching season 666, and Horror Zenio was one of the first friends I made on Horror Talk.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
she was nice to me. She's been super supportive.
That's awesome, man.
She's tried to help me find local funding for the Pumpkin Patch Pals.
Uh,
Um, it's just an absolute delight.
you need to
Um,
find a pumpkin company, man. What's out there that sells pumpkins, bro? I would go after a company that's selling, making, growing. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? There's a lot of outlets with that, dude. So, I
right?
mean, it's just, but yeah, bro. Let me ask you this. When it comes to, like you were saying, like earlier, everybody that's jumping on this project, I mean, it's just people that are wanting to do it. Like, hey, you know
Yep.
what? I'll voice it. When it comes to more episodes, are you going to stop at 3 and then pursue later, or how's this going to work?
I'm going to get the trailer done, the proof of concept, and see how that's perceived. Um, and then I will get my pumpkins in a row. And I fully plan to, and that's the joke. There's a little white pumpkin. Okay, so pumpkins come in various colors, and I've learned more about pumpkins than I ever wanted to know. Um, there are white pumpkins; they grow naturally that color. But albino is a white pumpkin with red flame eyes, and he is all hopped up on caffeine and coffee. And the idea was he used to be an orange pumpkin, but they have sucked all the spice out of him. So he's now this tweaked out white pumpkin who's, addicted to caffeine because Sinister Bruce supplying him with coffee, and he's like, oh, like, man, you'll never believe what I saw outside of the pumpkin patch, man. They're gonna milk us. They're gonna milk us. They're gonna milk us for our spice. And they're like, what, dude? What are you on about? Like, what do you mean? How do you milk a pumpkin? We don't even have nipples. And it's like, that little bump on the bottom above us? They're gonna milk us through that. They're gonna milk us for everything we are. And it's like the idea was like, I want merch. I want, the little mystery boxes where you 3D print these pumpkins. I want trading cards. I want them licked
Damn.
and stick to lunch boxes.
Yeah.
I want a pumpkin in every home, and I want people to love this show so much that they're like, well, I want to make a little pumpsona. I want to have a little pumpkin patch pal. Like, how do I become part of the gourd gang? Like, can I be a pumpkin patch cousin? Like, how do I? And I can't stop people from drawing their own pumpkin and claiming to be a pal. And nor should I feel like I should be gatekeeping this. But there's official pumpkin patch pals, and I think when I go to Kickstarter, I want to do background gourds, where
Yeah.
if you pledge at a certain level, we'll get a pumpkin drawn in your likeness, and we'll hide it somewhere in an episode at some point, so that you
Oh,
feel like you're part of it too.
like a little Easter egg, man.
Yep, but
I
that'd
like
be
that.
that'd be higher tiers because I'm gonna have to cap it at a certain point. I can't have 100
Oh yeah, yeah.
little pumpkins running around. My artist can only draw about 6 at a time, and it takes about 2 weeks to get a batch of pumpkins in.
Wow, dude. Man,
But
bro. I mean, yeah. I mean, I like it. I mean, the idea, the fact that it's animation, bro, freaking mind blowing. Because I mean, sure, we all grew up, watching cartoons.
yep.
I've been getting into a lot of puppeteer type movies, man. Like
Yes,
and I love the whole concept, dude. Like for me, like the Muppets, of course, growing
that's
up and watching that
that's what I
magic,
want
dude.
ultimately, like a
Yeah,
full-length movie with the Pumpkin Patch Pals, but they're Muppets or
bro.
puppets. They're
Yes.
foam, because you could just see this big foam, pumpkin moving and being manipulated, and God rest Jim Henson's soul, but
Oh yes.
that's why I want to do this, is because I often contemplate my own mortality, and I wonder what kind of legacy I'm going to leave behind.
Yeah.
LeVar Burton, who's still alive, Steve Rogers, Mr. Rogers,
Yeah.
Steve Irwin, Bob Ross. They taught us to be kind to each other, kind to animals, kind to ourselves, kind to your neighbor.
Yeah.
Um, Jim Henson, it's like imagine, don't stop dreaming, and it's like these men left behind a legacy, a beautiful, beautiful legacy. And I get up sometimes and I look myself in the mirror and I'm like, am I the kind of person that these men would want me to be? And I'm sorry I don't have a strong female example. Maybe the lady that did Lamb Chop.
Oh yes. Oh dude, yes.
Yeah, so
You cannot forget her,
like
man.
stuff like that. It's like, are these the kind? Am I making what the way I'm living my life making these people proud? And that's always been my big thing too. It's be gourd. Um, and then I tell people to be kind to themselves and each other. It's like you've got to do better. You've got to look out for your fellow person. The world is a disgusting, horrible, dark place, and we have got to start treating each other better. It's the mindset of the me first mentality has been around since the dawn of man.
Yes,
It's a
bro.
survival instinct, but
Yeah.
there's also safety in numbers. And I understand you don't want to follow the mob, but you also you've got to look out for each other, is what I'm saying. You got to take care of yourself, but you also need to help pick somebody up when they trip. Don't just trample them.
No, it's true, man. Because I mean, there's so much. I mean, there's different times. One of the things. I
Hmm.
mean, I know people are like, these kids nowadays, they don't know, what we went through, and it's like what we went through is gone. Nobody lives back there no more. We weren't raised the
Right.
same because for us, like falling down was always like, hey, get up. That
Yep.
was walk it off. Do
Yep.
what you do. But yeah, man, it's just different times. I mean, the way the younger generations dealing with life or going through what they're
Hmm.
going through, it's just but let me post this up real quick because you have brought this up. But Sherry Lewis,
Oh,
there you go.
yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
I just wanted to throw that out there, man.
Right.
But
I
yeah, bro.
appreciate that. Yeah.
No, no
Because like I
problem,
said,
man.
I was like, I wanted a strong female example too. Because it's like I fully the same thing I said about, it's like the pumpkin patch is about not judging each other, and it's about equality. Pumpkins come in all different colors. They're all different shapes.
Yeah.
Some of them are bumpy. Some of them, got a little rotten spot. Um, you know, uh, some of them grow a little weird. Some are that perfect round orange jack-o'-lantern. You know what I mean? It's like
Oh yeah,
this.
yeah,
Stop setting unrealistic goals for
yeah,
pumpkins.
yeah. I'm like, dude, that's organically made. I mean, they're making the deal
Right,
those in labs or something, man. But yes,
right.
My man. And of course, I mean, when it comes to merch, I mean, you brought up the fact, I mean, trading cards, I mean, stickers, I mean, it's ongoing. I mean, there's endless possibilities. You can do just about
That's
anything
where
with
I
it.
think the money's going to come from. I think, if
Yeah.
I get it on a network and get eyes on it, then I can kind of merchandise, and like the joke is like milking the pumpkins. But I mean, realistically, I'm you can't see it, but there's a shelf over here, and I've got just tons of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff from over the years.
Oh,
They're
nice.
selling us the same Playmates action figures they sold us back in '87, and
Yep.
people are buying them again.
Same mold, man.
And in the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, there's a joke about the turtles getting milked, and I didn't get it while I was in the theater, and I went home and I was like, "Oh, I got it now! Like they're milking the turtles. Like we're really." I
Yeah.
mean, I love the turtles. Don't get me wrong. Um, they did the
Well,
four new turtles.
yeah, you see, and I will say this, man, because of course, I mean, when we were kids, we beat the hell out of those toys, bro. Like they were
Yep.
missing everything. I I was collecting a lot of vintage, and I kept a lot of the vintage toys that I was like, oh man, I love this one. I kept it,
Hmm.
but I pick up a lot of the newer ones, and I pick them up for me personally, just because it's like, dude, as a kid, I never had one in mint condition and a card and bubble,
Yep.
and it's just like boom, like I'm gonna put that away. I'm just collecting it. But yeah, man, it's just now we got adult money. We didn't have money as kids,
Yeah.
so
Yep. Yep. And that's the thing too is nostalgia. The nostalgia is hitting hard with this generation.
oh yeah, bro.
The 30 somethings, 40 somethings, it's like, we have, well, some of us have disposable income, and it's like, man, they are just coming, they are coming for our wallets, and they are coming with both hands. Like,
Oh yeah. Let me show you this nostalgia, man. Actually, and this is a repro, I'm sure, man. But growing up, I mean, I I grew up. I was born in '74. I turned 50 this year. Growing up in the '80s, a lot of carnival. Going to the playing games and all that. But this guy, as a kid, I had him and I loved him, and I have found him again a couple of years back. Look at this,
yes, yeah, the
bro.
thirst sippy bird or thirsty
Yeah,
bird.
dude. I mean, it's just everybody's like, man, what do you have that for? And I actually got to take it to work, man. I'm putting it in my office, bro.
So
Just
I've
relaxing.
got I've got one of those cats in the kitchen, the cat, the
Oh yes, you see, and I
the
love
eye
that.
got,
Yes.
yeah, there's a store in Frederick that sells them. I was like, I must have this. And I was eating dinner with a friend on TikTok. He was eating dinner on a live stream, and I was like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to eat." And I'm like, "Hey, let's have dinner together. Let's together apart." And I looked over at the cat, and it's just sitting there, and its eyes are going, and its tail is going. It makes me smile every time. Best $60
Bro.
I've ever wasted.
No, yeah, yeah. You see, I still have like an old Garfield phone somewhere, man, and I found it and I just
Oh
kept it,
man,
and it's just like you pick it up and his eyes, open up and creepy as
right,
hell, but.
nice.
I was like, I'll give it a home. Why not? But my man, let me ask you this, bro. I mean, where can people contact you? Where can they reach you at?
Well, the best place right now to find my content is TikTok. But TikTok's kind of iffy on the notifications. But all my stuff's the same, so it's always SplatterHouse Cinemas. It's some variation of SplatterHouse underscore cinemas, SplatterHouse period cinemas. SplatterHouse Cinemas is all one word. But anywhere you
And,
find SplatterHouse Cinemas, that's probably me.
and I was gonna post this up. So is the
Yep.
image the same and everything?
Yeah, normally it's the center icon there. You don't always
Yeah.
see the VHS tape, that's actually I
Right.
had that printed as a mouse pad.
Oh, sweet, man.
So
Hell yeah.
that's actually
Yeah.
underneath the computer here. But yeah, it's normally, just wherever you see the little, jolly jack-o'-lantern, um, that's me.
Nice, man, dude. I'm enjoying it. I mean, what you're doing right now is definitely something that I would want to watch, that I
Hmm.
would want to be a part of. So definitely keep me in mind. But yeah, man. If there's anything else I can do for you, bro, I mean, I'm here. I mean, reach out. I mean, if you got something else that pops up and you want to talk about and throw it out there, man, by all means,
Oh,
hit me up
absolutely.
and we'll make it happen, man.
I really appreciate you having me on, buddy. I was like begging. I was like, if anybody has a podcast and has like some stale air, like I will talk to a stump in the woods if you let me. Like,
And I need that, bro. Believe me, man. So we'll definitely talk, bro. But I mean, I appreciate you, man. By all means, I mean, jumping on here, giving me a few words, giving me some knowledge as far as what you're working on, and the
yeah.
inspiration behind it. Because I mean, creativity, man. It's everywhere, and my mind races so much that I'm like talking to you, and I'm already thinking like ideas are popping in my head, and I'm like, dude, I
Right.
want to try something. I want to try this. So I'm everywhere, but yeah, man. I mean, I'm here. You know, I am in San Antonio, Texas, bro. I mean, I do reach the masses thanks to social media. We hit like I think 136. I mean, that was on Instagram, YouTube, and everything else.
Yeah.
So not bad. But the video will be ongoing, so it'll live forever. Hope at least
Yep.
the
Yep.
light in the candle won't go out on this one. Hopefully, so.
There you go.
But man, I do appreciate you, man, and don't hang up yet, brother. Everybody out there, man. Once again, make sure and follow up. This is Spider Coming Soon Podcast. Till next time, follow up.